What's up everyone, I'm VCI Gaming and welcome to another episode of Oxygen Not Included builds for the agricultural update. So the point of this video and what we're going to try to accomplish here is to pull enough hydrogen out of a system to sustain 11 of these hydrogen generators. Now there's a reason that there's 11 and not 10. Let me tell you real quick why. If we look at the stats of the electrolyzer, it creates 112 gallons a second of, or grams a second of hydrogen. So basically if I use 10 electrolyzers, this number becomes 1120. So now that 1100 allows me to provide 100 gallons or grams a second to 11 of these hydrogen generators, which is why there's 11. You can kind of get an extra generator at scale of 10 electrolyzers. So let me tell you a little bit about this system. It has 150 fertilizer makers, 50 natural gas generators, about 42 filters, 20 CO2 scrubbers, 44 gas pumps, and miles of pipes and wires. This thing will net massive amounts of power and oxygen, probably for about 100 duplicants. Basically I'm going to get it started. It's going to take 12 duplicants right here to pretty much start the system up, and then after that I'll probably fast forward to this part or skip it because it'll take a little bit for the system to start kicking up. Basically these duplicants are just providing the power for all this stuff to happen here, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about the system. So here we are pretty much past the initial startup stage. I've turned off all these switches for the initial power boost that this system requires. Let's take a quick look at the electrical grid, and then we'll look at the gas pipes because I know you guys are interested in seeing that because it looks massive, and it is. Forgive me, this is a little bit laggy. Each of these power stations provide 20,000 watts of power in series of 10 each into the main system that we're trying to accomplish here, which will ultimately net an entire heavy watt wire. Basically what we have going on here is the left side provides for a bunch of these filters, and there's a couple in net here as well, and the right side provides power for everything in the enclosed system, including the electrolyzers and all the gas pumps required for this to work. After that, basically we have the piping, which is massive and just straight up looks cool. As you can see real quick, all the power stations are working perfectly as they should be. They're all self-sustaining with a net of 2,000 watts each. Basically what happens here is we have the electrolyzers enclosed with, I think it's 32 pumps. Each of these pumps has a line that goes to a filter. Its initial filter is to take out oxygen. In this case I have each oxygen output going to a void. Now I know a lot of people think that this is kind of cheating. I could have just as easily put 100 duplicants into a square room with all of these outputs entering the room, and they would have easily been able to breathe all that oxygen. The reason I didn't is because the game is already laggy, and that would result in a lot more lag. So after all this oxygen is initially filtered out, the remaining thing that's in this enclosed system is hydrogen, which will in turn fill up this entire room with hydrogen. Basically there's a vent for each line, and it all vents to this room. These three pumps are the pumps that will be responsible for providing the gas, the hydrogen, into these generators here, and there's 11 of them. I have them 2 pumps set to 4 and the last pump set to 3. Basically, as far as this electrical system is concerned, you can use an Atmos switch and probably set it to 2,000. I actually kind of wish this would go to 3,000, it would be better. In this case I'm in debug mode, so I'm just going to use a power switch to turn this on when I know it's the time. You don't want to turn this on too early unless this was in your base. If you wanted to pull the potential power out of here, you could turn this on and have these run half-assed for a while until they kind of like had enough hydrogen to work 100% of the time. In this case I'll just wait till I know this will run because I know what that number is. Yeah, so I'm gonna let this run for a little bit. It does take a while, obviously. This is a gigantic system. I'm pretty much gonna wait for this hydrogen thing to fill up a little bit more, and then I'll come back to you guys for turning on this switch, and I'll pretty much show my proof that 11 hydrogen generators is not too far-fetched. That is, if you're willing to build this entire system. Oh, it looks we have duplicants dying. Maybe I should have pumped in the oxygen. But yeah, basically I'll come back when that is a thing. Okay, so we've reached a point now where our gigantic hydrogen chamber has filled with enough hydrogen to begin these vents to overpressure. So I've turned the system on, and they are now providing hydrogen through these 3 pipes into the hydrogen generators, and I will kind of let this play out until all of these reach 100% capacity, just to show you that this is a sustainable thing, and that there is enough hydrogen being supplied through this system, this gigantic system of pipes, to provide enough hydrogen for this entire system forever. And after that, I'll pretty much wait till the next cycle, and I'll play out an entire cycle of the whole simulation so we can kind of get a look at how much oxygen is being produced and how much power we're netting through this entire system. Awesome. So yeah, as you can kind of see here, the hydrogen generators are going up, all 11 of them, in what they're storing currently, and the pipes show absolutely no sign of slowing down. The chamber is staying roughly about the same number. This will vary, it'll go up and down depending on what's going on in these pipes, and these are even backed up a little bit. I might have waited a little bit too long to start the system. This Atmos switch being set at 2000 was a little bit high. It should have been probably about 17 or 1800, and then this overpressure would have never happened, but that's fine. Too much hydrogen is never a bad thing, so I guess it kind of all works out in the end, doesn't it? But yeah, each of these is above 50% now as far as what they're storing. I guess I could speed it up a little bit. The reason I've been playing this on a slow speed is basically my computer is saying, oh god, what are you doing to me? We have had so much fun together in the past, and now this is happening. But I'll speed it up a little bit just for video's sake. Yeah, you can see that they're kind of going up a little bit more, and they will go up to 100%. They will literally run forever. Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of let this fill up. Maybe I'll fast forward through it a little bit, and then we'll get into the next phase of the video, which will be playing out for an entire cycle. Okay, it took a little while, but we have reached 100% capacity in all 11 of our hydrogen generators. Just to recap, this is coming from 10 electrolyzers, which allows us the extra 100 grams a second of hydrogen to input into a generator. Our pipes are still completely full, and they have pumped out enough hydrogen out of this chamber to stop our overpressurization problem that we had when we first started. It wasn't really a problem. I kind of let it build up a little bit too much, but that's fine. This will balance itself out. Basically, so what's going on now is this is all pumping out as much hydrogen that these electrolyzers can make, and it's providing power to this entire system. This is basically a net of an entire heavy watt wire, and that's not including the net that's coming from our fertilizer maker or natural gas power generation, which is about 4 wires, and there'll be a little bit 40 watts here and there because of the way the single wires work, the regular wires I should say. So basically I'll give you one more view of the pipes. This will work forever. Once this system reaches this point, there will always be enough hydrogen, as you can kind of see through these pipes. There will always be enough hydrogen to provide enough hydrogen for these generators, and there will always be enough gases for all the other systems to provide power to these critical systems here, and this will pretty much run forever. So I guess the only thing left to do here is let it play through a cycle. We're in the middle of one now, so I'll start the test, pretty much I guess the benchmark, after this cycle, and I will let it play through the whole cycle, and then I will show you guys the net results for oxygen and power. Alright, I've let the entire simulation run for an entire cycle. We have netted 5,088.2 kilograms of oxygen, which is enough for almost 85 duplicants. As far as power is concerned, we have added a total of 29,784.6 kilojoules, which is a ton. Out of that, we've used 21,938.2 to run all the systems, and we've netted 7,846.4 kilojoules, which is a lot, a whole bunch. I do, however, think some power is getting lost in the system. As far as these power stations, if I were to have optimized putting Atmos switches in here to determine when these fertilizer makers need to come on, I probably could have easily gotten this to 15,000 kilojoules and would have needed another complete heavy wire circuit just for the net output. But that's for another video. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching the video. Remember, if you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.